Greetings to you, value investors, stock traders, hype dorks, all across the fruited plain. It's Friday. We have a big guest coming. Here we go. Well, it's not just me today. I'm going to bring in my good friend, Mike Gabriel. Here we go. He's in. Give me 1 second. Adam Wright. There we go. Mikey is on. So Mikey, how you doing?
Yeah.
So Mikey is the CEO of Crossroads Group, which is, of course, one of what Paul talks about it all the time. It is 8 or 9 businesses. Maybe we'll figure that out today. I don't know. Mikey, do you know how many businesses are there?
I was counting last night after you sent me the list of questions, because that was one of them. It was like, which one is it, 8 or 9? And I think I got to 8.
So we have 8. Okay, so we have 8 businesses.
I don't know.
So Mikey runs everything there. So Paul always says that he doesn't know what's happening in 90% of the businesses. This guy is the one that knows what's happening in 100% of the businesses. I've seen him. He knows everything from the luxury escapes business to the everything money business to their real estate business. So today we're going to get into some different things. He's well versed on the economy. He's a lawyer. So we're going to get into it and let's see what we come up with. You guys feel free to ask whatever questions you have. We just got a comment, Mikey, that said he's an upgraded Paul.
Paul's got more hair than me, though.
So, Mikey, I know you went to law school. What kind of drew you to? I know you only practiced law for a few months. What drew you back into the private sector, I guess, of just running these businesses versus going out and practicing law at a firm?
Oh, man, good question. Kind of a longer story, so I'll try to keep it short as possible. But I went through law school planning on practicing law forever. In fact, I had a plan to eventually become a federal judge, which probably means nothing to anybody on here. And I worked at the same firm all throughout law school. They took me on full-time, McDonald Hopkins in Cleveland. Great firm, still great people. And started practicing. And at that time, Paul and our partner Andrew were starting to send me a number of things just to get my eyes on it and that sort of thing from a legal perspective. And also at that same time, I was trying to get a clerkship with a judge, and I was striking out like crazy. I mean, I had like 5 or 6 interviews in Columbus, in Akron, in Cleveland, and just kept striking out. So I was starting to get a little frustrated with the with the whole thing. And then it kind of dawned on me that I didn't want to practice anymore when I was getting ready for a big filing the next day to actually go into court and do a big filing. And I was up later than normal. It was like midnight, 12:30. And I just happened to check my phone, and I had an email from a partner I was working with saying, hey, make sure you're in the office at 6. And I was planning on getting up at 6. I remember thinking, man, life is going to suck if I can't go to bed when I want to go to bed, if I constantly have to worry about, do I need to get up at 4 a.m. just in case somebody emailed me to be in at 6? So from there, Paul and I started talking more about me coming on board and doing more legal stuff. And it went from, I just gotten engaged. I was getting married the following year. And it went from, hey, after the honeymoon, then let's, plan the exit and you come over, to, at the end of July, why don't you come over? And then it was, we were at dinner one Friday night, me, Paul, and my wife, at the end of April. And he goes, just put in your damn notice. So I just went in and put my notice in the next day.
That sounds like something that Paul would say. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I know this is an interesting thing to me. I know that because Paul and Andrew were kind of they were Crossroads group, and they said to you that you needed to. It was almost like a Shark Tank kind of situation with the Tosa cigars.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So those of you that don't know, and probably none of you do, Mikey started a cigar company. Man, what was that? 10 years ago now?
Yeah, it would have been 10 years ago. I was in college, and Paul and Andrew really wanted me to do a business. At the time, I was in college. I was doing my own rental rehab. So I went and gone and bought a couple houses just on my own, separate from Crossroads Group, and hired the contractor to come rehab them, got them leased up, all that fun stuff. But I wanted to do something manufacturing based. And I was already planning on going to law school. I'd already gotten in, but I wanted to make my own cigar. It was a massive dream of mine. I thought I would do it in my 40s and 50s. And I got in touch with a company called Toronto Cigar Company, which used to be a really big cigar company. They got bought out by General Cigar 5-6 years ago. But they were in about 1,500 stores nationwide. And I reached out to Bruce Lewis over there, who's the VP of Operations, and said, hey, Bruce, I want to make a cigar. Kind of told him my vision. And I remember me and a few buddies were driving from Oxford, Ohio, where we went to school, up to Ann Arbor. We were going to a Michigan game, and I saw Bruce calling in, so I shut off the music.
Uh-oh. There we go.
There we go.
No, it's crazy. And it's funny. I have probably, since I moved in, I bought Paul's house, of course, and there's a humidor in the basement. I still have about 370 boxes of those cigars sitting down there that I just organized, and they're all just waiting for you to...
Hey, that actually reminds me. Will you bring a box today to the course?
That's true. So Mikey and I are going golfing later today. Paul's going to walk with us and maybe carry a bag for cardio, which is actually pretty comical. But all right, so let's get into this. What exactly is Crossroads Group? Because it's so many different businesses. People hear holding company. The average person doesn't know what a holding company is. What exactly is Crossroads Group? Because when we ask you guys what you do for a living, you just say, well, we just own a bunch of businesses. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So what's a holding company? I mean, it's just what it sounds like. You just hold a bunch of interests in different businesses. We really consider the real estate and any business where we own kind of 50% or more of it as part of the holding company. We do have some fund investments, not a lot, but a few. In fact, Mo, we're in a couple together between Crossroads and you guys.
Yep.
But I mean, a holding company is just a fancy way of saying like just an entity that owns a bunch of businesses, operates them, different pieces of it, and trying not to mix it all together. But that's all it is.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be. I mean, they vary from real estate to vanities to fantasy football to this, and there's no set path. It's just kind of everything. So, what's the biggest part of Crossroads Group? It has to be the real estate, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, I mean, some of the other businesses are really making a charge at the real estate to try to overtake it. CPR, the property restoration business, ATOD, I'm sure everything money will, with your guys' growth. I mean, that's probably just a matter of time before we shut down everything else and just focus on this. But
It's just all YouTube all the time, all software all the time.
I was actually excited to see the intro because you guys are always talking about doing these daily shows and everything, and I just think you're, messing around down there. So it was actually cool to see legitimacy in what you're doing. So congratulations.
It's funny. I think that I know that you've watched one of these shows, and I think it was like one of the very first shows I ever did when I was still sitting in a corner office. We still had Don, who was sitting across the table from me, running all of the software in the background because I had no idea what I was doing. But I think that's the last show that you probably watched.
So I will, of your morning shows, yes. I had to talk to Paul a couple weeks ago, and he was in the studio. So I went down there, and they were about to go live. You were in North Carolina. No, where were you? Maryland?
Yeah.
So I was like, screw it. I'll sit here and watch. It was fun. It was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, what we have going on, it's something that I've never thought would happen. Even like 8 months ago, if you would have told me this would be going on 8 months ago, no chance.
Yeah.
Somebody just said we look like brothers. Very true.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if you have any questions, send them in. I'll ask Mikey. Whatever you guys want to ask, especially about the real estate side. So one of the big businesses and something that we always talk about all the time. And guys, if you're patrons, or not patrons, if you're subscribers, you get discounts to all of the Crossroads businesses depending on the tier that you're in. So it ranges from, I think, 5 to 15%. One of them includes our homes that we always talk about in Mexico and Turks and Caicos and expanding across the world. Can you kind of explain that business? Because we talk about that the houses are there. What do they get when they go to these houses?
I mean, it depends on the house, obviously. We try to keep everything the same, but just depending on where it is, some people want it different than others. So when you go to Mexico, you want that full staff experience, and you get that. You have effectively the full-time driver. You have a cook that's there all day. You have a cleaner that's there pretty much all day. You lounge at the pool and you go, I want a margarita, and they bring you a margarita. It's a pretty incredible experience, to be honest with you. And it was funny when I saw that on the list. I'm like, of course he wants to talk about LEI because Mo's a partner in LEI. So
exactly, we got to pump it a little bit. Next we'll roll over to Dynasty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But no.
Somebody also said it looks like Mike's the middle child between Mo and Paul. That's a pretty good one. It is funny though. I spend every Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything with the Gabriels, so it's very true. Somebody did have a question here.
Yeah.
Be honest. How is working with Paul?
It's like 90% of the time pretty good. It just depends on. Listen, we're brothers. It's easy from the standpoint of he's almost a decade older than me, so it's pretty obvious, whose vote counts a little bit more. Even if we're equal equity partners, he's the older brother. That's just, and we come from, Middle Eastern backgrounds. Eldest is
senior. Yeah. Yep.
But he gives me massive latitude. When he made me CEO, he was very, very gracious about really backing off and letting me do, for the most part, what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I watch it every day. I of course, being brothers or not even being brothers, being business partners, everybody's going to have their disagreements here and there, and that's just how it goes. Do you guys do any investing outside of the United States as far as like rental apartment buildings, anything like that goes? Not just the vacation homes.
So we don't yet, but we've looked. We've even looked in Manzanillo. There were a few things that popped up. We've looked at some things in the UK, kind of more student housing related. Never pulled the trigger though. Right. When you get into those different, it's one thing to go buy a house in a different country for rental purposes, which in and of itself is a pain. I mean, I cannot tell you the level of government regulation we had to jump through in Turks and Caicos, where it's seemingly easy to own a rental property. But we're very fortunate in the U.S., especially in certain states, where you can kind of do whatever you need to do to run a business. Some of these other ones, I mean, you got to hand over your firstborn child to get anywhere, Turks included. So to look at a bigger project like a big apartment building, it's going to take some serious due diligence from like a government standpoint.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when we did the Turk's house, Mikey was asking me for documents, and I honestly thought he was joking. You were sending me texts about certain things, and I really did think that you were like screwing with me. But no, he wasn't screwing with me.
Like a notarized passport copy or something.
Yeah,
like that.
passports, and I'm just like, what in the world are you talking about? So, looking at this overall real estate market, it's crazy out there right now. It's been crazy for a lot of time. Overall in this market, not only for business owners, but for your normal person that wants to buy a house, anything like that, where do you see this market right now? Do you see it being at a peak? How much higher can it go? At what point to me, I look at it, at what point does this break? But it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to break it.
Yes. I mean, I don't know, man. It's been 6 years since we made a serious real estate acquisition, and by serious I mean over 100 units, and not for lack of trying. And we have chased down some serious deals that, one was 300 units that we came real close to, and then some out-of-towners from New York came in and outbid us by 30%. When COVID happened, it was crazy before COVID. Then COVID happened, and honestly, there was a little bit of high-fiving going on in the office from the standpoint of, hey, there is no way this can continue to go how it's been going during a pandemic where we're literally shutting down the world, right? Like, I mean, as bummed as I was and, annoyed with government lockdowns as I was also like, this could be a good buying opportunity. And we could not have been more wrong, to be totally honest with you. Prices are worse now than they were pre-COVID. We literally brought the economy to a halt. We're still recovering that. And things are more expensive now than I can't make any sense of it. When does it stop? Who knows? I mean, I'm done guessing.
Yeah, it's probably better to just stop guessing. I mean, we think about it all the time. People are asking me in the comments right now, when does it break? When does it break? Guys, I don't know. And there's a question here. How easy is it to follow a process of buy low, sell high in real estate? I know right now it's literally impossible. But in a normal market, is that something that you can do? Say 2009, 2010, 2011, coming out of that horrible crash that we had.
Yeah. No. So I'd probably say never do that. Never buy low and sell high. Never have that be the goal. I mean, it's a great goal if you want it, but that's speculation. That's so hard to do. What we do is we look at every single deal in and of itself and does it meet our return parameters. We internally at Crossroads have required IRR returns over 15-year analyses for different levels of properties, A, B, C, less C, more A, B. And if the deal works, in a heightened market like this, or it works in, post Great Recession, it's the same deal to us. We're not trying to time and literally go buy something at the low point and sell at the high point, because we look at every acquisition that we do as a forever hold, even though it might not be.
Right. And guys, when they're looking at this, when Mikey's talking about doing the 50-year analysis, they're using Real Estate Calculator. Real Estate Calculator is something that you guys get with the software. We're rolling it out. It's coming. So you'll have Stock Analyzer tool, 8 pillars, Real Estate Calculator, Retirement Calculator. So you're going to have access to the same thing that they use when going through and analyzing companies. So one big thing that I always talk about, and I post on my Instagram a lot, which you see, is the situation of hiring right now. We keep hearing from the top that jobs are flourishing in this country, unemployment's at 5.2, 5.3%, whatever, but there's 10 plus million jobs, and literally, Mikey, everywhere I go, it says, we are hiring who isn't hiring at this point.
Yeah.
You hire a lot of people. How is the hiring process for you? I want to hear from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, it's tough. It's, and it makes you really consider how do you treat the people you have already in a real good way, like you should anyways, but when it's tough to replace, it really comes to mind like, hey, make sure you have a good, I'm going to use the C word, culture. Paul's going to cry if he sees this.
So corporate.
He hates that stuff. But it's true. I mean, the good culture is everything. I mean, I will tell you that our recruiting costs in the first 6 months of 2021 exceeded all of 2020. I mean, we are just spending money left and right.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's regularly when I'm looking in the books and meeting with the HR manager, Carol, and meeting with some of the people, depending on what her response is, and going, what are we recruiting for? And then they list, I'm like, we're going crazy. Then they list it all off. I'm like, well, I mean, what choice do we have? Those are positions that need to be filled. And what other way is there to get people? And everyone's just outbidding each other. I mean, that's all that comes down to. But I have never, ever seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, neither have I. And not only have I've not seen anything like this. I don't think we've been told this kind of stuff before.
No, yeah.
I think it's completely untrue. That's the other thing. How many units do you guys have right now?
Oh God, we're down to less than 1,000.
The goal is to be like 10,000 plus though in the next decade, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be 10,000 plus in the next year.
Of course, that would be. So I will say, if any kind of pullback happens like '08, I think that would be very feasible. It's just, does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that that economies are cyclical, then it has to happen. If you believe that government intervention cannot prevent market cycles, then yeah, I mean, it has to happen at some point. I don't know if it's this year, 5 years, 10 years, 20. I mean, who the hell knows?
Right. Hey, this is something that kind of, I joked about it a lot. It owned your brain. This person asked, did the COVID eviction regulations make things very difficult during is it over now?
Yeah, it's over, and that's a really good question. We hit some tough points, but we weren't quite as affected as other people. But we definitely lost some money as a result. But we were always able to cover our bills, no problem. Didn't have to dip into any capital reserves. I will say and Mo knows this, is why it's such a good question. I hated that eviction moratorium. Hated it. Because the government came out and said, you can't evict somebody because of XYZ related to COVID. Oh, but you have to keep paying your mortgage to us, Fannie, Freddie, these government-backed mortgages. And if you want any relief, you have to apply for it, and you can only get 30 days, and you have to do another application. So they give all the people paying us just a total free pass. I mean, they literally just have to sign a little affidavit that says, I've tried to do everything I can to get money. I will say we worked with the state a lot, the state of Ohio specifically. They had a lot of funds come in. We did not want to evict anybody, and we did a really effective job of not actually having to evict many people, because we'd work with the tenants that couldn't pay to go get government assistance money. The issue became the delay between applications for that government assistance and actually the payments going out. But it's okay. 8-12 weeks. We're surviving. I did actually help a little bit pro bono on one of the cases that shot down the eviction moratorium. So I was very, very proud of that, to kind of slap one back in the face of the CDC.
Now, is that part of the 1891 project?
1851 Center?
1851 Center in Ohio, yeah.
It was through that, but Maurice, who heads up that organization, and just so everybody knows, I sit on the board of this litigation nonprofit think tank, effectively in Columbus, and we sue state and local government all throughout Ohio for property rights violations. But since that was federal, it was actually done by another organization out of DC, the name of which I'm blanking on. Pacific Legal Foundation. That's what it is.
Okay.
No, I think that's wrong. That's another one. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's okay. I do it all the time on here on the show.
Yeah, but they did have Maurice help out, so I helped out a little bit, just kind of doing some reading and.
That's awesome. Hey, here's a good question for you. Somebody said, do you think that the commercial real estate in this country is going to struggle due to all of the remote work coming back? Now, you guys don't own any commercial properties except for obviously your building, right?
Well, in Dad's building, we have commercial tenants.
Yes, correct. Dr. Gabriel has a cancer center, and you do rent out to tenants upstairs.
Yeah, and downstairs, Brown Mackie College and the Meridile. Listen, there's no doubt something's gonna happen. there's going to be more of a push for work from home. I've talked with a few law firm friends up in Cleveland who, they have 4 or 5 floors at their office buildings, and they're going to a partial remote work from home for uh, the foreseeable future, and they're in the middle of renegotiating their leases, and they're going from 4 or 5 floors to 2 or 3 floors, and going to have space in between when people come in. I don't think commercial is dead by any stretch of the imagination, and I think that there could potentially be some decent buying opportunities. I will tell you, we've just always been a little hesitant on commercial in general. People have to live somewhere. People don't have to work in an office. Not that they won't, so you just totally throw it away, and they'll find something to do with it. Look, everyone thought that retail's been dead for however long, but more restaurants are popping up, more services are popping up. They're being converted into these, Amazon grocery stores where people don't even work there, and you go in and pick up your stuff and walk through a line, and you automatically get charged. So they're
exactly right. I mean, as much as things, maybe sectors struggle or industries struggle, typically they're going to figure it out. It's just going to take time. People will figure things out. That's kind of how it's always been here in this country, and really in the business world, period, no matter where it is in the world.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a good question here. I want to own my first real estate property in the next 5 years. I'm 32. Since you did this pretty recently, any advice on getting your first property?
Save. Because you're gonna need down payment money to go buy the property, depending on what you want to do. If you want to do rehab or not, who's going to do the rehab? But you're gonna need, probably in that situation, if it's your first one, to get financing. You're probably looking at 65-70% financing, unless you have serious assets where you can guarantee the loan and get a little bit higher. Then you're going to have the rehab money. Then you're going to have negative cash flow for a little while. So use RE-Calc, obviously, but saving is really the best thing I can say. And don't go chasing. You're 32. You will get a deal done. You will find something. It doesn't need to be tomorrow. It doesn't need to be next year. There's a group in Cleveland that they started out with 4 units 20 years ago, and now they're up to like 5,000 units. There is no crazy rush in this. Don't go chasing deals.
Yeah, you're always gonna. I mean, any deal, whether it's a deal in a real estate deal, a business deal, buying a car, which you're kind of guilty of. You just kind of want the car and just buy the car. But yeah, you never be afraid to leave a deal on the table if it doesn't sound right. Somebody asked, do you have any funny / interesting Iraqi secret name like Paul does?
No, I do not. I was born in St. Louis. I'm totally Americanized, Michael Joseph Gabriel. I wish I did, I guess. Yeah, Paul's is. Does everybody know Paul's? Has he mentioned it before?
Yeah, most people do, because he said that he would give $1,000 away if somebody could guess the name, and nobody guessed it.
Yeah, no, I do not. I do not have. I'm fortunate. I do not have that.
I always think it's funny so Mikey's 100% Iraqi. I'm 50% Egyptian. He gets Mike Gabriel. I get Mustafa Hussein. But the joke can go on me, and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense.
I love telling Mo that I'm sad when he dies in Lion King. Different name, but I just love saying it.
There was a question here. Oh, do you invest in stocks at all?
Paul does all that. It's way over my head. I'm not that high tech. I don't understand it.
Okay, so I got to ask the question. There's a lot of people asking, how do you feel about the short?
Hate it.
Hate
it. Hate it every day I look at
because stocks only go up.
Yeah, stocks only go up. But if Paul's watching, or if he sees this later, he's going to be so mad at me.
He's watching. Yeah. He said, this is a good interview. He said that you cried during the eviction moratorium.
I basically did. I was so sad.
Let's see what else we have here. This person said, what's your favorite story about me? What does that mean?
Oh, about Mo?
I don't think we can talk about those.
Well, I've got some. Oh my gosh, I've got some great stories about Mo. Where do I start? How about the time that he? Does Nicole watch these? Can I mention?
She does, but it's fine. She'll get over it.
when Mo brought over this this
Oh,
girl,
this was a good one.
got 2 years ago to meet my wife and my one daughter at the time, and Mo never brought girls over
Ever.
I mean, until it was like serious. So it was serious, and within 2 weeks, it was a bit of stalker status.
Yeah.
You
She
know,
lost her rocker.
yeah, she at a concert, she attacked a lady that she thought was hitting on Mo, and it was Mo's buddy's mom. And then later on, after Mo called it off, she would just drop by the house and drop off flowers. And you got to give her credit. She tried, man.
Hey, A for effort, A for persistency. So I know you like to read. This is the last question, then we'll wrap up. What are 3 of your favorite books? You read a lot.
You people are gonna hate my books because I don't, you know.
Okay, why don't we do this? 3 of your favorite, more business-oriented books, not history books.
Creativity Inc., which is about Pixar, which is probably one of the cooler stories. And again, Paul's gonna hate this. It's all about culture and that sort of thing. Have you guys ever talked about Gary?
Yeah, we talk about Gary all the time.
Yeah, so Gary, when I was in Boston a couple years ago, and Gary and I met for drinks, and he brought me a book called The Culture Code, which was actually written by a Cleveland guy. And that was one of the best books I've ever read. It just kind of emphasizes the importance of, especially in today's day and age, of a good culture. And I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of the book, but Bob Iger's book. What was the name of it?
Oh, is that the one that's sitting on your desk right now?
No.
Oh no, that's the other. That's Cockerell. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But those of you who don't know, Bob Iger was the
Bob Iger's. It's the only one he's ever written.
former CEO of Disney.
Yeah, Mo will tell you I idolize the Walt Disney Company. I'm so impressed by how much money they can force parents to pay them at Disney World and be happy about it, and how people literally save up for that trip just to go once or twice and spend all their money and show up in custom shirts and everything. I mean, it's just an incredible company that has managed
and be super, super, super happy about it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then want to go back. I don't get it. It's like you always say, happiest place on earth.
Yeah. So those are probably the 3 books. I can't believe I'm blanking on that Bob Iger book. I think it's literally the only book he's ever written. So Google it.
Yeah, go read it. But
yeah.
All right, Mikey. Well, it's been 30 minutes. That's the show. I know. I was like, well, maybe we'll get 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll just do stuff. I was like, right when we got going, I looked at it. It was 9:07. I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to go 30 minutes or more on this one. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview. Mikey, you're welcome back anytime you want on.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
And that's it. So, go get your haircut. See you at the golf course at 12:15.
I feel bad. I have all these friend requests on Instagram that have to be coming from you and Paul. I am still deciding if I'm going to make my my profile public or not. But I just warn you, it's just all golf and my dogs. So
what's your Instagram handle?
It's Gabriel_MJ. So I haven't denied anybody yet, but I'm debating if I'll just make it public and let anybody who wants to follow me for the good of the show.
Okay, so if you guys request him, if he gets to, let's say, 100 requests.
Deal.
By Sunday.
Deal.
You'll go public.
Deal.
All right, deal. All right, guys. You have a wonderful day. Mikey, have a good day. I'll see you in like 2 hours, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Good weekend, too. Bye-bye.